Going on, you guys? It's Keinan Briggs, sports consultant and mentor. Today's conversation is going to be there. We go. For the seniors, it's a pep talk. Seniors who are kind of going through it, who are dealing with the stress of the last few months of the year. A lot going on for you guys. And a lot of you guys have some goals that are set up for yourself, and this is going to support you guys with that whole process. It's what I pretty much say every single year at this time. I do it out of, I guess I want to say, fear. um, it's preventative is what I want to say, but prevention is fear. um, but I do this because I want my athletes to be able to make sure that if they have these certain goals set, they have to know the reality of this environment and what has to happen. Because if they slip, then that's it. Okay, so here's the example. Right back, this was probably 2012. Yeah, 2012 season. I had my high schoolers, seniors, and I said, okay, I need them to make sure that they're ready for league. I want them to be mentally in a space to where they're competing and be accepting of the worst case scenarios. Now, there were some seniors that I had on my team that mathematically they would have had to put together their best ever jump just to qualify and make it to the next round of CIF. CIF is like our playoffs. Okay. Um, and so there were other athletes that were supposed to qualify, but still they had to do it anyway, just to make sure that they qualify. What I did was I said, okay, here are the top marks of our league and where you stand. What we're going to do is we're going to travel to Orange Coast College. We're going to do your events and see if you make it. We're doing like a mock track meet. So I took them Saturday morning to this track event, this track and field facility, and I had them jump. I said, warm up, do everything you would normally do. Obviously, they're like not ready to jump, right? And they jumped, and some of them qualified, or I think almost all of them didn't qualify. Either way, let's say they all didn't qualify. What I did was I said, okay, long jump is done. I had a couple athletes that long jump, like that was it for them. Like that's the only event that they qualified for. And I said, all right, the top three athletes made it. You got fourth. You fell short by about 4 inches. Your high school career is over. You're all done. You're not going to go to college with the marks you currently have. You'll be able to attend college, but you're not going to compete at the college level. So your high school career is over. You're now done with track and field. All right, you can leave. And they were like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, you're done. Leave. Like your season's over. Go ahead and leave. And they drove home. And it was very impactful to the athletes. I later on found out that some of the athletes cried when they got home. But the reality was they needed to have that feeling in their body going into the competition. What's at stake? At stake is if I don't put together this jump, I'm done. That's it. So I woke them all up. And that year, I believe we had five athletes make it to CIF. And then we also, actually, we had four athletes make it to CIF. Two of them jumped personal best to make it. And then another few athletes did personal best and didn't make it. So morally, they're in a good place. They're like, I did my best. But they did their best because they were prepared. They had this emotion. So what I say to you seniors is be ready for this end of the season. It's May, April 15th, right? Technically, you have 1 month or so, 6 weeks left of school, high school. Then your life will change forever. Maybe you go to college. maybe going to your route, the military, or whatever it is. But your life that you have currently right now is going to physically change. You got 6 weeks. You have prom, you have senior trips, you have all these things happening, and you're in track. It's a lot going on. Your friends are going to the beach. I'm in California. Okay. Your friends are going to the beach. You can't go. Why? Because you have track. If you set a goal to go to state, you're not going to the beach. You're training. You're not going to the beach. Why? Because you're going to sweat, because it's hot. You got your shirt off. You're with your friends. You're eating poorly. You can't do both. You got to pick and choose what you're going to be doing. Right? I get it. Your friends want to go party this weekend after your track meet. You can't do it this time. You have other focuses that you got to keep your mind on, right? Other things to focus on. So the reality of this situation is you're never going to have a spring break at the college level because you're going to be traveling for track meets, right? You're going to have a hard time performing at your best ability if you're not mentally ready for what needs to happen. Another level of reality is I'm assuming you guys have another week or two left of regular season. Then you get into your league championships and so on. You got about 1 or 2 weeks left. For us, we have 1 week, right? 1 week, a regular season, and then it gets to league. And at those meets, you have to perform to advance. If you don't advance, you're all done. So the reality is you have 1 track meet left, 2 track meets left in your high school career. And if you do things correctly, you're going to be granted another 1 week. You break that down, if you're a jumper, you only have 8 jumps left of your high school career. It's tough to swallow. But the reality is you can make that go as long as you want. I don't care how good you are. If you don't put together the basics of what you're trying to do, you will end up at home. I had a senior who senior year was jumping 18 feet 7 inches. Her mom purchased some ankle braces or whatever. I didn't know this. The athlete had that, so tighter ankle support, plus just had a full season of like a lot of things going on, was going to to the Air Force specifically, and a lot of variables were happening that weren't consistent with what we have been practicing. And she jumped poorly and didn't make it. Didn't go to state. She made it to state sophomore year, right? And that was it. The good thing though is that she was in a great place when it comes to, she was able to compete at the next level, but it was stripped of her because of just these changes and she wasn't prepared for them. This talk is to prepare you for it. There are going to be a lot of changes happening. Keep your focus on what your ultimate goals are, and you're going to find yourself in a very, very good spot. Okay. If this triggered you, I understand. I'd rather be the blame for your trigger that led you to performing at a high level than no one telling you this and you mess up and that's it. And you get blindsided by this, right? Another story I want to share with you guys is I was at the junior college state championships in the hurdles. I was in the talks of winning. I think I was 3rd overall. And I needed to run a PR to win this championship. As I'm running, we get out. I had a rough start because I was nervous, right? And then the guy next to me was getting past me, and I was like, okay, he's getting too far. I got to get there. And he hits his hurdle, and his hurdle hits mine. And then now that became an issue. And then the next hurdle was all over the place. Some guy fell, and I'm like, I think I got like 4th or whatever. But I was just like, man, like all these things happened. My coach said the chaos doesn't happen when you're in the front. And I was like, oh my goodness. He's right. If you're in a boat, it's all glassy water unless you're behind the boat and now you're hitting all the wake of that boat. Right? So what I say to you guys is get ahead of your event. What I mean by that is, what is happening? I want to go. My friends are asking me this to get ahead of it is, if I'm a state champion, then I went to all these parties. Would I still be state champion? Well, that's not right. That's not right. In order for me to stay champion, what do I have to? What's my life that I have to live? And so, whenever an event comes, like, hey, you want to go out with us tonight? I have to refer with, is this in line with me being a state champion? If it's not, make your decision. There's no wrong or right answer, because you could go party and all those things and have fun. But just be ahead of the event to figure out, what options do I have? If you have prom on the same day as CIF championships or masters or state championships, or graduation on the same day as graduation, get ahead of the event. What are the possibilities? I literally had an athlete that graduated, and then their team parents put together a private jet that flew them to state championships. So, excuse me, they were actually able to graduate, do the full ceremony, and do that. I also had athletes that had their track and field uniform under their gown. The school graduated them early so that they can then drive straight to the track meet. These are all possibilities. Also, athletes that have prom, they'll get dressed in their prom dress, take all their prom pictures the day before so that they can now get dressed after the track meet and go to prom without having to do the pictures. This is what works for them, right? But you don't want to be in a space of stress trying to figure out, how do I live life and do this and do that at the same time? Every single situation is going to be different, and it's going to be a difficult choice, right? For me, I felt like I didn't do everything how I wanted to at the high school level. I should have gone to state. Didn't happen, because at that time I was like, I really enjoyed playing soccer after school with the team, because that was fun versus focusing on running at the state level, right? But again, the culture around me was, we all play soccer. Like, we focus on league, then we play soccer with the girls team because it's competitive, it's fun. Versus, I could have said, you know what, I get it, I do want to play, but I really also want to make the state championships. I got to make a decision, right? So this talk right now that I'm giving you guys is a way to wake up right now to your reality of, like, what is it that you want and what are you willing to give up? I don't mean not do it. It's just, are you just balance everything out? Get ahead of your situation, get ahead of the possibilities. If you do say yes to doing something, what else are you saying yes to? There are a lot of implications there. When you buy a dog, you don't just have a dog. You have to pay for the medical bills. You got to pay for shots. You got to pick up the poop. You got to walk the dog. You got to give the dog attention. You got to feed the dog. All these things happen of taking care of a dog. You're saying yes to all these things, right? If you get a dog right now and you're leaving to a different state to go to school, you can't take a dog with you. Are you prepared to say goodbye to the dog? Like, all these questions come up. If you don't know what to ask yourself, ask someone who's a year older than you. Ask your parents. Ask me. Like, figure out what else can you assess before you make this ultimate decision. Okay. So the pep talk I'm trying to really get at is, everything will always happen in favor of your destination. So when that's doing, you might lose this opportunity here because it's in favor of your destination. The prom person, the girl or guy you've asked to go to prom, might say no because your goal destination was to go to state without distractions. And prom might be the day before. Like, things are always going to happen in favor, right? Or the prom person might say, hey, I can't take pictures the day before. Let's do it Tuesday. That's fine, right? Make things work, because make things work, and also be open to things happening a certain way, and know that they're always happening in favor of where you're going. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, please comment below or send me a message and I can go into a little bit more detail. But yeah, that's it. All right, good luck. Everything will work out.